Now in this video, we'll try to implement an anonymous class with this runnable interface. Now how to implement this is, so instead of providing a definition of A here, what we can do is we can simply say it is new runnable. So if you say new runnable, so we are creating the object of interface, right? But unfortunately, we cannot create object of interface. So we have to define that. We have to define those methods in the interface. So we have to use this bracket open and bracket close. So this is your anonymous inner class for the interface runnable. And the only method we need to define here is public void run. So the definition it should have is for int I equal to 1, I less than equal to 5, and I plus plus, which is the same code we have defined in this class here. So what we can do is we can just copy these lines. In fact, we could have copied everything, so no issue. And then since we are writing that there, so we are not using any A class here, so we can remove this class. Right, so we can just delete this class. So you can see for thread T1, I'm directly using thread T1 equal to new thread, and that it is expecting an object of runnable. So what I'm doing is I'm simply saying new runnable, which is the object of runnable interface. But unfortunately, interface, we cannot instantiate interface, right? It's because it doesn't have a definition. So we can provide a definition with the help of anonymous inner class. So this is here is anonymous inner class, in which I'm defining a method called as run. If you fail to define this method run, it will give you an error. So it is compulsory to define that method. We can do the same thing for thread 2. So we can say it is new runnable, and we can provide a definition here. So definition what I'm expecting there is this method, which is public void run. So we can say copy, and we'll paste it here. Since we are pasting that code there, we don't require this class, which is class B. Right, so what we can do, we can create two threads T1 and T2. We can set thread T1 equal to new thread, and we can pass the object of runnable interface, and same goes here. Now if you run this code, the output is those alternate values. Yeah, we are getting those alternate values, right? So this is how we can create a thread. So normally we have this, normally we have two ways. One is using thread class, or we can use runnable interface. If you're using a runnable interface, again, we have different ways of implementing a thread. So this is the, I can say, most efficient way of defining a thread. It looks complex, but it's the most efficient way of defining a threads, provided you are not reusing that code. If you want to reuse this code, you have to create a class. But if you know that this code is only for this type of this execution, so you can write it, you can use anonymous class here. Now if you can see, this T1 here is, we are using this object T1 only once, right? So again, what we can do, let me just change the code a bit. We can simply say new thread, and we can provide the definition, which is this definition inside your thread. So we can say cut and paste, and once you have done with that, we can simply say it is start. So again, we have reduced the number of lines. In fact, we have reduced only one line. So if you compare these two codes, this is a named thread, which is T1, and this is anonymous thread. So if you see this example, everything is anonymous. It's your thread is anonymous, your class is anonymous, right? So we were just trying to make the code more efficient. If I say now start, if I say run as Java application, the output is this. Simple. So this is how we should be using runnable interface with anonymous class.